Hey guys, this is your boy Bobby. Welcome back to my channel. And I just want to say thank you for clicking on this video. And if you're new to this video, please make sure you hit that subscribe button down at the bottom and that notification bell. And give this video a thumbs up. And also, happy Memorial Day. So this weekend I got a chance to go see the movie BrightBurn. And if you guys know about the movie BrightBurn, I had this movie as number 7 on my most anticipated horror films that's coming out this year. And BrightBurn is directed by David Yarovetsky and produced by James Gunn. These two guys worked together on the Marvel film Guardians of the Galaxy. And as these guys come together, you should know what type of films they're good at making. And it definitely shows on this movie here. So BrightBurn is about a husband and wife that's trying to conceive and have a child. They have a hard time of doing so. So just a coincidence, a spaceship lands inside their backyard, well, crashes inside their backyard, and it happens to be a baby inside of it. So throughout the movie, they end up taking this baby and raising it as his own and naming him Brandon. They store the spaceship inside the barn that they have in their backyard, and it's like in this basement or whatever. This kid grows up to learn that he has these superhuman powers, much like Superman, and he loses control and start wrecking havoc. And guys, I must say, I really enjoyed this movie. Even though certain scenes were predictable, the characters in here are great because it's set in a small town, so it's not too many people that you have to get to know and work with. And it's just set on the husband, the wife, and the kid. And they are learning how to deal with this kid because he's also 12 years old, so he's going through puberty. So they're thinking him having these little fits or has something to do with puberty, but come to find out is that along with him getting control over these newfound powers that he has. So what makes things worse is that the spaceship that they have in the barn is calling out to Brandon. And when he finally reaches, he finally goes to the barn and sees what the red lights are blinking and is talking to him, he starts to get possessed. Like he's still himself, but it's like a darker side to him now. So every time Brandon doesn't get what he wants or somebody tries to tell him what to do, he starts to lose control and he starts to wreak havoc and do things in a violent way. Tori and Kyle, which is Brandon's parents, they don't realize it until the middle of the film where things are starting to change in Brandon, and Kyle starts to notice things right away. He starts to see why, Brandon is staring at these chickens and all of a sudden the chickens are dead. He starts to see little things happening, and Tori, she's the one that's connected to Brandon the most. So everything that Brandon does, she's kind of like defending him. Like she's always on his side because she's very much connected to him, more so than Kyle, which is Brandon's dad. And so that plays a big part throughout the remainder of the film because Kyle is the one that's just like, yo, Brandon is doing all these things. I don't know how he's doing it, but he's doing it. And Tori's like, he's just a kid. What are you talking about? Whatever. But then later on in the film, she starts to realize that it is Brandon doing all these things, but she doesn't realize it until it's too late. So things I love about this film is the kills. I did not expect the kills to be so graphic in this movie. Every time Brandon goes after somebody, and it's very suspenseful, and then the end result of what's going on is very violent, and I was not expecting that for that movie. Yes, I was expecting kills, but I wasn't expecting the type of kills that happen in this movie. Like, I was really impressed of how things were going on in this film when it comes to a suspenseful scene. And as far as the camera pacing too, the camera pacing when those death scenes are happening, they sit there for a while so you can take it in with your brain, and it's kind of like graphic and just uncomfortable, but I was not expecting that for this type of film. So that's definitely one of the things I love about this movie. Another thing I like about this movie is that how dark the movie becomes. In the beginning, yes, you get this lighthearted Superman, feel to it, same type of story, same plot. And then in the middle, things starts to build and it starts to climb and get darker and darker and darker, where at the end of the movie, it becomes the superhero slasher film and Brandon becomes unstoppable. He's like, nobody can stop him. He's just doing his thing. If he doesn't get what he wants, or if you betray him or anything like that, you're done for. No more you. He's going to use whatever superhuman power he has to get rid of you. And that's one thing I like about this movie as well, is because he just he blacks out, and there's no stopping to that. And at the end of this film, you start to see that he can't be touched. So that's another thing I like about this movie. A couple of my dislikes is some of the scenes are predictable. It was a lot of scenes that I picked up on that I knew that was coming right away, and I was just like, all right, I could see that coming from a mile away. It didn't really like make me go away from the movie or like I lost interest or anything, but coming from a movie like this, I can see that certain scenes were going to happen, and it did. But that's just me nitpicking. A lot of movies are predictable nowadays, but that's just one of my dislikes of this movie, is how certain scenes are predictable. Another thing I dislike is there were parts in this film that the director and producer could have, elevated the character Brandon, and used them to an advantage in certain scenes. And even though I said the kills were amazing and very suspenseful, it was a lot of potential in this movie where Brandon could have went like ballistic or done a certain, scene in a certain type of way. But again, that's just me, how I think. I'm not too sure if anybody else feels the same way, whoever seen the movie, but that's just how I felt about the movie. Like, there was certain scenes in here that I kind of thought could have went better if it went, this certain way, but it didn't. But again, that could have been the directors and producers' vision of how things went. But again, that's just me nitpicking, just because I like this movie so much. So I'm just sitting there picking up the little stuff. But yeah, that's just another one of the things I dislike. My rating for this film is, I give this movie an 8.5 out of a 10. Yes, this movie is that good in my opinion. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I had a few nitpicky, parts about the movie, but I give this movie an 8.5 out of 10 because I enjoyed it that much. And when I go through all my movies at the end of the year for my most anticipated, this movie definitely probably going to climb up from number 7. I still have a few movies to see this year, but this movie definitely probably going to climb up. So yeah, 8.5 out of a 10. But yeah, guys, definitely go see BrightBurn this week. It's definitely one of those movies that you're going to be entertained from beginning to end. If you go see this movie, please let me know in the comments below what you thought about the movie, what are your predictions, and definitely stay to the end credits, because as the movie's going off, they are setting this movie up for a sequel. You can already tell. There's this guy on the news just going off about weird happenings that's going on and around in the world, and he's explaining different characters in a sense, and it kind of sets it up for a sequel, whereas though Brandon's not the only person out here with these superhuman powers. There's other kids out here with these superhuman powers, and we don't know where they come from. That's another thing I forgot to mention that I disliked about the movie, is that we don't know where these characters come from, and they didn't really explain it too much in here, but I see why they probably didn't explain it too much in here, because they're setting this movie up for a sequel. And I guess if they're going to do a BrightBurn 2, 3, 4, or 5 or whatever with different characters, or maybe finally do like a Justice League type of movie at the end, when they come to a conclusion at the universe, if that's their plan, maybe throughout these movies we start to understand where these characters come from. So maybe that's just their plan all along. I wish we knew in this movie, because it could be the last one, but I doubt it. I'm pretty sure this movie will get a sequel. But yeah, they're definitely setting this up for a sequel, and I can't wait to see if they're doing other characters. So yeah, guys, let me know what you thought about the movie in the comments below. Let me know if you're going to see it this weekend, if so. And yeah, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.